2 videos in less than a week? Gee, Colin, there must be some big news. You'd be correct, loyal subscriber. A new tidbit of lore has rocked the very foundations of the Warhammer 40k universe. Did another Primarch return? Did the Emperor speak after 10,000 years? It was neither of those things. Those are inconsequential compared to the bombshell I'm about to drop. You ready for this? Women can be Custodians. I know. Truly earth-shattering revelations. We are living in the end times. Okay, but for real, women Custodians have been confirmed canon in apparent lore leak from the upcoming Adeptus Custodes Codex. Many of you are probably already aware, and like most sane individuals, probably didn't put a ton of thought into it. However, the response from a small section of the 40k community has been, well, perfectly reasonable, of course. I'm going to discuss the leak, some lore, and some of the responses to it. Welcome back to Starter. Let's start with a quick recap on the Adeptus Custodes as a whole. These golden armored warriors have been with the Emperor since the beginning of the Unification Wars back on Terra, when it was still ruled by warring techno-barbarians and nation-states. As the Emperor conquered tribe after tribe, Custodians grew in number, helping to unite Terra under the Emperor's banner alongside the Thunder Warriors. It was the Custodes who were responsible for purging the unstable creation of the Thunder Warriors alongside the newly created Space Marines when they rebelled against the Emperor. All the lore points to Custodians being at the Emperor's side even before he left Terra for the Moon and Mars. They're the true OGs, but the Custodians weren't just the best of the best for no reason. In ways only known to the Emperor are the minds and bodies of the Custodes honed to a razor's edge. Not only are they trained in combat, but they're also educated on all aspects of war, strategy, philosophy, and a whole bunch of other stuff. They're the Emperor's protectors first and foremost, but they're also meant to be his companions. As such, they were educated in a way that allowed them to converse with him on any and all things. Wrapping it up, the Custodes, while modified humans, are much more refined than the men of the Space Marines. They are literal perfect specimens and living weapons, with lethality and intellect far surpassing even the most seasoned Astartes veteran. So where in the lore does it say women cannot be part of the elite? Well, nowhere. So why all the fuss? Maybe there's something particular about the leak itself that has basement dwellers everywhere shitting and pissing. Let's read through that leak together and find out. Kesh was warned before anyone else aboard, sensing a sudden empiric energy spike, coupled with the surge of overpressure and sharp temperature drop that presaged teleport strike. Her guardian spear was leveled and armed before the first cry of alarm or howl of a klaxon rang through the bridge. Armored shutters rattled down over the exterior viewports, a futile gesture of warding against foes who had already boarded the very nerve center of the ship. As the teleport flare faded and a quintet of hulking figures were revealed, Kesh found herself fixed firmly under the targeting reticules of several ballistic grenade launchers. Despite staring down enough firepower to tear even her gene-smothered body apart, she could not resist a wintry smile. Not a lot to go on, right? Some of you eagle-eyed viewers might have picked up on it though. She, her pronouns. My god, James' workshop has really done it this time. What are the deeper implications of such a monumental reveal? How has the universe of Warhammer 40k changed forever going forward? There are none, and it won't be. Depending on what unfortunate corners of the internet you inhabit, however, it might lead some to believe that GW has betrayed and spit in the faces of 40k fans everywhere. Like this guy right here.
It's funny how their stock plummeted. That's a result of this lore flop, right? Go woke, go broke.
Brother, have you seen the price of model kits? I don't think GW is going to file for bankruptcy anytime soon. Does adding a woman character inherently make something woke? Or this one, Sisters of Silence Battle are a literal girls club, but no one cares to introduce men into that? Let me try and use very simple words here. Those are explicitly mentioned to be all female and have lore reasons to justify it, just like Space Marines being all dudes. There's a lore reason to justify that. Nobody is trying to put bros in the Sisters of Silence or the Sisters of Battle because they are sisters. It's in the fucking name, among other things. As far as Custodes lore goes, nothing has mentioned that women can't be members.
But Colin, the 8th edition codex mentioned they're all start off as the sons of Terran nobility.
Okay, and that changes anything? How? Just because a big muscle mommy hasn't been mentioned up until now doesn't mean they weren't around. That was in the 8th edition. We are 2 editions into the future. Lore is fluid. It can change, and Warhammer itself is pretty clear, even in universe, that not even Imperial scholars know what's going on half the time. It's fractured on purpose. Is it lazy writing on behalf of GW? Yeah, maybe, but it allows for a fluidity you don't often see in other franchises.
I'm not a fan of changing established lore just to appease radical activists.
Homie, who the fuck is out here picketing GW offices for female custodians? How is having representation In an organization not explicitly mentioned to be exclusively male or female, radical. I imagine that these are the same kind of dudes who get mad whenever they see a girl in the aisles of their local game shop. Kesh is not a pandering device. GW might put out some new female head sculpts for Custodians models. God help us. I guess when you've never spoken to a woman before, it's pretty easy to forget that all this lore is, in essence, a marketing device to sell you tiny plastic dudes. It's radical to have female characters? Brother, it is not that deep, I promise.
The past was erased. The erasure was forgotten. The lie became the truth. Orwell.
You know, when I was putting these together, I saw this comment and I was like, by the time I record this, I'm gonna have a snarky comeback or something to that. But I'll be real, I got nothing.
I reiterate my previous stance. Warhammer is dead. Never ever pay for a GW product again.
I don't know what's worse, the fact that it's got 144 likes or that he's just dead wrong. Please, for the sake of all of us regular fans, don't buy a GW product again. I know my LGS doesn't want some freak like you in their store, and I know I certainly don't want to be around someone who wants to topple down an entire franchise just because an obscure character in the lore is a woman. How fucking pathetic do you have to be to have such a brain dead take? Warhammer's dead? Yeah, buddy, look at that stock price and then try to tell me that. This is the last one, and this one actually got me pretty heated.
Regrettably, we should have always expected this second shoe after the Warhammer is for everyone announcement.
Warhammer is for everyone. It's for the bros, the buys, and the babes. This is a hobby that everyone should be able to get into. That's why I started this channel in the first place, in the hopes that someone would find it, feel included, and take the leap into this incredible universe. Warhammer doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to anyone. Now, I know I threw a lot of negativity at y'all, but I want to reiterate, this isn't the wider 40K community. Most of us really don't give a damn. At the end of the day, I want you, lovely viewer, to see this and know that Warhammer is for you. You belong here, not just on my channel, but in the fandom as a whole. And I hope that these Mountain Dew guzzling, tendy munching fucks don't dissuade you from getting in on a genuinely fantastical universe and an incredible hobby. I think this whole Custodians debacle is just a reminder that some people take this satire fantasy game way too seriously. It's cool to pretend to be the bad guys, right? That's part of the appeal. It's not cool to actually be the bad guys. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you don't. Subscribe if you think Warhammer's for everyone. I'll see you in the next one. Toodles.